Marty did a woo doggy right before we went live, and it hurt my ears.
Sorry for hurting your ears.
Marty, this is going to be a good rip. I'm pretty excited.
I am too. We're back on Thursday at 1 p.m., our designated time.
It's the best. It's the best time.
It really is. It's been a few weeks.
There's no second best.
No, we had a call, get swept off our calendar at 11 a.m. I had nothing to do. I went and got a workout and a steam in. I'm feeling very invigorated right now. Steam, cold shower, workout, feeling good.
Well, now you make me feel unproductive, but I'm pretty excited because I got a burger and a beer before this, and that's usually it's usually the best setup for an RHR for me.
Well, hey, to each their own. You get a burger and a beer. I get a steam and a cold shower and a workout. We're feeling good.
I have this local burger place that I evacuate Bitcoin. Like if in my ideal situation, I leave Bitcoin Park and don't get lunch with anyone, and I spend a half an hour just eating a burger and beer by myself at the bar.
Hop Daddy?
Nice and meditative. No, Jack Brown's.
Jack Brown's. There's nothing better than a good burger at a bar. That's the one thing I miss about New York. It's being able to go somewhere like the Smith, get a nice Pilsner, a burger. You can do that here in Austin too, but
the Nashville burger scene's stronger than I expected. Like everyone knows about hot chicken, but it's incredibly competitive here on the burger side, which as a former New Yorker is great.
Is Jack's your favorite burger?
Jack Brown's is solid. They're like smaller sliders and they're Wagyu. And I think their first location was Harrisonburg, Virginia, but they have two in Nashville.
What was your favorite New York burger?
I don't know, but it's not the Smith. The Smith is like decent.
Yeah, it's definitely not the Smith. Smith was just convenient. When I was working at Barstool, it's right across the street.
The Smith is like country club food, not in a country club, and there's like 10 of them throughout the city. It's a borderline institution.
I lived on the Upper East Side for many years and partial towards JG Mellon, the original.
I don't think I've ever had JG Mellon.
What?
Steakhouse?
No, it's just a burger joint.
Just burgers?
Burgers, martinis. They have the disc fries.
I'm a sucker for a good burger. I like the burgers, like the, I hear a bunch of carnivores out there crying, but like to me, like the burger is the culmination of the ideal food.
It's an incredible vehicle.
It's got all the ingredients you want in there. It's great.
It really is. All is quiet on the Western Front this week, is it?
Is it? We have a short list.
Farm. We do have a short list. We're going to be riffing a lot on this episode. Should we start with the demo?
Let's go for it.
River dropped River Links today, which allows you to easily gift people Bitcoin. We've discussed this before. Mutiny released a similar product, but River launched this today, actually a couple of hours ago. So it allows you, if you have a River account, to easily gift people Bitcoin. They can receive it directly into their River account if they have one, but you can also send it on-chain and over Lightning, and it's Lightning address compatible. So right now, we're going to send Matt a little gift to his Lightning address. Let's do it, Logan. Let's see how quick it is. External wallet. Not the, boom. Logan's claiming the Bitcoin.
Oh, shit.
On behalf.
That was smoother than I expected.
Did you get it?
I got it. I'm looking at it on my Zeus right now on my own node. 466,285 sats.
It's the power of Bitcoin.
Does it? See?
Yeah.
Boom. Got it.
The holidays are here. Looking to gift Bitcoin. It's a great way to do it.
So first of all, I push back on this being similar feature as Mutiny. I mean, similar end goal, right? Which is you have someone's phone number, email address, and you don't know what their Bitcoin wallet setup is. So you want to send them a convenient link that they can claim it. On Mutiny, what's really cool is it actually creates a brand new Mutiny wallet for the recipient. and then the transaction goes through in a completely freedom oriented way, where the end user is holding their own keys in a fresh new Mutiny wallet. The main trade off of that is the sender needs to be online when the receiver claims it, because it's not custodial, and it's from one self custody wallet to a brand new self custody wallet. So the sender needs to be online. Now, if you're a custodian like River, you have the benefit of not needing that online interactivity. A bunch of exchanges I've seen do similar things in the past. I mean, the original idea of Swan Bitcoin was basically just to gift Bitcoin like this back in the day. But what's really cool here, in my opinion, is that they make it really seamless to receive the Bitcoin if you don't have a River account. Like most of the time, these tools or services, like, they broke down because it was just ridiculous. Like, what, I'm going to give someone Bitcoin for Christmas and then hope that they either have a River account or they're going to go through like the full KYC onboarding experience to get their $100. So it's really cool to see that they have like seamless external wallet integration there. And that's not like hidden behind settings or anything. It's actually a first-class citizen. So the recipient can just put in a Bitcoin address or a Lightning address and receive Bitcoin.
Yeah. That's what Mr. or M Chu in the comments is asking. Is River KYC? Yes, but this links product you can send.
But like, I wasn't KYC'd in that process. Yeah, to the receiver, you don't have to be.
Yeah.
Just in time for Christmas. Could be a good way to give a Bitcoin gift. I personally I'm a Sats card open dime maxi. I think if someone has something physical to hold on to, it hits them harder, especially if it's their first time gift. But definitely a useful feature. Great to see. And shout out River to sending me 450,000 sats.
It's got the futures here. And I would say like the physical Sats card and Open Dime, my favorite gift giving vehicle to date as well. What if you get somebody like has Bitcoin wallet, or you can just go like, all right, set up a Get Alby Lightning address. I'll send it there, or spin up Zeus, get your Lightning address from that, send it there.
I mean, like, if you were giving me a gift for my wedding, I'm already married, and I'm not getting married again. This is one wife only kind of guy. But let's say I was getting married, right? And we're already boys. We're already both Bitcoiners, and you're a River user. Like, this could be incredibly convenient, right? Like, you already know my phone number, you know my email. You can just send me the link. You don't have to ask me for an address. You don't have to ask me for an invoice. That's super convenient.
Yeah.
I just like especially for no coiners or pre-coiners. Like, you give them $500 on an Open Dime, and they like look at that thing. They're like, "Holy shit! Is this the future of money?" Like,
the Bitcoin's on the USB.
Yeah. Otherwise, they see like a text, like, "Oh, it's a spam text or something." Whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Now, this is cool to see. Shout out to Alex, the team at River, everybody building over there.
Perfect timing for Christmas.
And a highlight of when you focus on Bitcoin as a Bitcoin-only business, you can build cool stuff like this. You don't have to go support other chains and put your users at risk, which maybe should be the first thing we talk about, which is the ledger. More ledger hacks. A draining attack has been discovered this week. But first, let's go to Clark's dashboard, get an update on the state of the network. We dumped this week. Somebody market sold $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin on Sunday, and we're down very low to $42,885. We dumped like $1,000. Probably front running.
I mean, aren't we? Isn't this about the price we were at last RHR?
Yeah, I was being facetious. I'm sorry to pick up the sarcasm in my.
By the way, I found the old block clock. It's $54,000.
54. We were right in the middle. You said 52. I said 56.
It's on the bookshelf, waiting for the next time I rip from home. The freaks will see it.
Hell yeah. We're at $42,870.
Weirdo Robot is asking. It's just Weird Robot. I always call him Weirdo Robot. In the Nostr comments, by the way, our Nostr live chat is rhr.tv/stream. Check it out. That's the best live chat. He's asking where they find the River gift thing. Is it like in settings in your River account, or
On desktop, it's a first-class citizen. That's where I sent it from you. Let me open up my River app.
but it's like in the it's like you have to be a River user to find it. You have to be logged in and be a River user. The sender has to be a fully KYC River user.
This could be wrong. Maybe browser only for right now. I might need to update my mobile app. Let's see if they have an update. Work in the browser. It's right there on the right side of the screen.
I do love that a bunch of people reached out to me. I had a bunch of freaks reach out to me about my incredibly bullish intro to the last week's episode in the context that we had dumped $2,000. And now by the time RHR happened again, we're back at the same price. Guys, as is tradition, this is not just going to be like straight upwards. It never is. There's going to be volatility in the short term. It doesn't invalidate the fact that this is the most bullish fucking setup you could ever imagine. And if you want to ignore that, that's fine. Like in 6 months, we can reevaluate and see where everyone stands.
Wow, shout out to Zap.stream for creating the pop-out chat button. Makes things a lot easier.
Oh, yeah, I always use the pop-out chat.
I don't have to look at myself while looking at the live chat.
And it's on a delay, too, if you look at that video stream. Okay, continue Clark Moody's. Sorry,
we're now at 42,840. We're dumping as we speak. One cuck buck is going to get you 2,334 sats. We're an $838.4 billion market cap. We're at block height 821,194. We are currently 1,337 blocks away from the next difficulty adjustment, and we had a difficulty adjustment since we met last week, which is, I believe, late Saturday night. That was a negative difficulty adjustment of 1%. So we had 6 consecutive upward difficulty adjustments, and now we just missed the 7th in a row with a downward adjustment.
Damn it.
The next one.
I just love records.
The next one is in 1,334 blocks, estimated to be on December 23rd. Festivus, looking like an upwards adjustment of 2.3%. Block's been coming in at 9 minutes and 47 seconds on average. There are 35,010 transactions in Clark's mempool.
Which is not all of them.
Let's go over to mempool.
Clark has a teeny weeny mempool over there.
Don't say Clark has a teeny weeny. Okay. That's not nice on air. Don't talk about his weenie on air.
Clark, why is your mempool so small?
You got small mempool Napoleon complex. Is that going to be a thing? Mempool.space's mempool has 250,566 transactions in it.
It's like almost 6x Clark's is.
You got a bigger mempool. Does that make you feel inferior, Clark? We're not talking about Clark's teeny weeny on the show anymore. This is getting inappropriate. Back to Clark's dashboard.
Take your mind out of the gutter.
We are looking at 9,901.71 Bitcoin unspent capacity on Samurai's Whirlpool. That's 424.6 million cuck bucks of unspent value. That is the state of the network. And as we were discussing before, when your mind is scattered, trying to support every shitcoin under the sun, you typically write bad software with a lack of focus and ledger. Just keeps taking lumps, man. This one's pretty bad.
You want to give a quick overview?
Haven't dove too deep into the details, but from what I understand, and you don't have this on the list, of course.
Well, it doesn't affect Bitcoiners.
Doesn't affect Bitcoiners, but there's somebody was able to write malicious software into, I don't know if it was Ledger Live or MetaMask.
And our advice last week covered it as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Somebody injected a malicious draining tool
no,
for all the ERC20 tokens.
it's specifically you're an Ethereum user, and it's not just if you're an Ethereum ledger user, is my understanding. It's if you're
It's
an
for
Ethereum
dApps.
user and you integrate and someone like man in the middle this DApp, and part of the way that Ledger interacts with it is it literally just pulls unsigned JavaScript code from a URL and loads it onto the ledger. And someone put malicious code there instead. By the way, this is your wallet should not be doing this. And the thing that we always say is users should like confirm on their screen, but like the way my understanding is like the way these DApp confirms go, it's like completely like illegible. Like people can't understand what they're approving or whatnot. And you press approve, and then they drain all your Ethereum and your Ethereum tokens and stuff. So my understanding is Ledger has replaced that malicious file at the URL, and it's propagating right now. So hopefully those attacks will not continue to happen. But I will reiterate my recommendation from last week, which is just buy a fucking cold card. Yes, they are a sponsor. Yes, 1031's investors. Yes, me and Marty rely on cold cards to protect our family's wealth. There's your full disclosure. You can use whatever you want, but the reason I have overwhelming support for a cold card and universally recommend it to people is because it's best in class, and because I would not put my name or recommendation behind something that wasn't. So consider buying a cold card. If you still want a shitcoin with the Ledger or the Trezor or whatever, and then actually keep your family's long-term savings in a cold card. Like keep the Bitcoin separate. There's no reason. I mean, I don't think you should shitcoin anyway. I think you should just stay humble and stack sats. But if you're going to separate it, I will reiterate that this particular attack does not affect Bitcoiners on Ledger, but you should still consider moving off. And then last but not least, what we did not cover last week, I was exhausted. So there's a couple things I'm going to add from last week across the board. Is there's a lot of concern. I have a lot of concern with this idea of the same company controlling the app that you interface with, right? The client that you interface with, and the hardware. And we've seen time and time again situations where that relationship has resulted in bad news for users. So consider using apps like Sparrow, right? Consider using non-first party apps with your device. Like if you use a Ledger with Sparrow or use a Trezor with Sparrow, I think you're just net doing better than if you use the web suite or if you use Ledger Live. So keep that in mind. Obviously, some hardware wallets like Ledger don't let you just completely ignore Ledger Live, like ignore their first party app. They like force you to use it for initialization and firmware setup and stuff like that. And that's why they're, not a great hardware wallet to use. But just it's something to keep in mind. It's kind of like separating church and state. It's it's a separation of responsibilities, and it means as a result, if something malicious were to happen, more collusion is required. It's not just like one party is the same party that's building and maintaining the hardware and the software at the same time. So just something to keep in mind. And also just huge shout out to Craig. I use Sparrow Wallet and rely on Sparrow Wallet on a daily basis. And it's just, I was like sitting here the other day managing a multi-sig, one of the many multi-sigs I manage. And I was like, holy fucking shit. You know how much worse my life would be if Craig didn't like wake up one morning and was like, I cannot stand with this. We need a better wallet. Just went and shipped. So thank you, Craig Raw, for Sparrow Wallet. I really
If you haven't used Sparrow yet, go try it out. It truly is the best desktop experience.
Yeah. But yeah, I think this is a perfect example, right, Marty? We've talked about this for like this lack of focus, like this idea of Bitcoin only is not a purely ideological thing. It's like if you have a lack of focus and you're trying to support all these different chains, you're increasing your attack surface. Things are going to slip through the cracks. You just end up with a worse product and a less secure product. It's not purely from an ideological point of view that we like supporting things that are Bitcoin only.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, when it comes to actually providing value to end users. I mean, supporting the yield farming, shitcoin casino, NFT world. It's what's the value of that is fleeting, in my opinion. Companies like River building actual products that are providing utility to end users, to onboard people to Bitcoin and things like that. And others in the space, whether it's mining companies solely focused on Bitcoin's hash rate, companies like Coinkite, obviously we mentioned them earlier, dedicated to building Bitcoin-focused security devices. It's just a much better product at the end of the day, and something to consider when evaluating the products that are out there. I mean, Trezor has not had any of the problems that Ledger and Ledger Live have had this week. Who knows?
Well,
maybe that draining bug affected
well,
them
no,
as well.
go through the web suite. I'd be very surprised if there are no trackers in that web suite.
Well, the point I was trying to make is use Sparrow with your Trezor as well. This isn't specific to Ledger either. Beware, freaks. Beware. These are out there.
The other comment I wanted to make from last week is because I was kind of caught off guard. I mean, I guess I shouldn't have been caught off guard because I made the fucking list, but I was exhausted. On the Bitkey backup and restore process, I linked a video in the show notes. It's a 4.5 minute video. Well, let's not repeat last week. No need to play it, Logan. But they put a lot of thought into the backup and restore process, and I didn't do it justice. They do not use a typical seed backup. This is for Block, formerly Square's new hardware wallet, Bitkey. They don't use a typical seed backup. What they do is they set it up in such a way that it's almost impossible for the user to lose their money if you trust Square to exist and not be malicious, which is incredibly clever in terms of a mainstream user. And this goes, so you lose your phone, you can restore with the cloud backup and your Bitkey. You lose your Bitkey, you can get a new Bitkey shipped to you, and you can restore with your phone and your cloud backup. You lose your phone and you lose access to your cloud backup, but you only have your Bitkey. You can wait a 7-day period and you can restore with just your Bitkey. So they make it so unless you absolutely completely lose everything, you should be able to restore. It's a relatively clever restore process in a reasonably secure environment if you trust Square to exist and that they're not acting maliciously. And the whole product is basically based off of that premise. It's much easier to understand what Bitkey is trying to provide if you are familiar with the two-factor hardware devices that a lot of banks send boomers, where they send them this physical device, usually has like a pin pad on it or something like that. And the idea is you're still trusting the bank, but the bank is trying to help protect you using additional authentication. So I kind of look at the Bitkey from that point of view. And if you look at a typical boomer or something that is comfortable with that and has used that, the setup process is incredibly simple. It's very straightforward. Backups are handled pretty much automatically for you, and the user is protected from themselves for 99% of situations, and they're going to be able to back up and restore, and the device is incredibly, well built. So, I don't think the Bitkey is not a product for me. The Bitkey is not a product for 99% of ride or die freaks. But there's a very strong attempt to be made to build a very polished, high quality user experience that offers new users a reasonably secure situation that makes fund loss very, very difficult unless Square is malicious. So there is my proper 2-minute review of Bitkey so far.
It's a great meet in the middle product. Yeah. Meet people where they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's ergonomic. I think that's the word you were looking for when you hold it in your hand.
It's not really ergonomic.
I think
Ergonomic is like you can hold it well. It just feels good. It feels substantial, like feels like heavy, and it goes back to like what we were saying, what I was saying about like the gifting, and you give someone an open dime, like you feel like there's real value because it has like a physical something that you're holding on to it that feels physically sound. And Bitkey did a really good job on that front. Like if my dad was holding it, he'd feel like there was $1 million in it.
Yeah.
Even though the money isn't in the key, but yeah, he'd feel like it is.
Is it on the key? Not technically the private key that gives you access to the Bitcoin on
in this case, it's even more of a technical nuance because it's one key is in the one key is in the device.
Shout out to Bitkey. We've got regulatory news. We've been talking about this for weeks. I referenced it during Clark Moody's dashboard. Price crash of last week. Particularly interesting timing that somebody market sold $1.5 billion the Sunday night before.
You think Diamond was filling his bags? Do you see these rumors coming out that he's been expanding their crypto team while he's shit talking Bitcoin?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
But they're gonna sell some like JP Morgan tokenized assets.
I still don't remember that dude who did that to us last cycle. We were joking around.
I was thinking about that. I was thinking about that last Saturday too. I was like, who was it?
It wasn't Paul Tudor Jones, but it was one of those guys,
Not Dahlia. Was it Dahlia?
No. Anyway.
Paul Miller?
We joked around that he was our boy. Different Paul Miller, not our Paul Miller?
Not our Paul Miller.
Yeah, it might have been Paul Miller. What fund is
Bill
he?
Miller. Bill Miller.
Not Bill Miller. It wasn't Bill Miller. Yeah, there is no... Paul
our boy Paul was Paul Tudor Jones. That was a running joke for a while.
Yeah, but there was another one. Anyway, whatever. He was fudding us while he was accumulating. Many such cases.
Somebody in the chat has to know.
There's such bad... The regulatory front is so fucking bad in America that I don't even know when I post these things and I'm like, is this the same shitty one that we had last week or is this a new shitty one? It's so hard to keep track of all the shitty fucking regulations and proposals that are coming out right now. They hate your freedom.
Are we even free, Matt?
No.
But that's a good segue into the bill Elizabeth Warren presented. It's got a lot of co-sponsors. I think it has 12 or 13 co-sponsors. Now at this point, essentially putting into bill format what we've been discussing for the last few weeks, increasing the amount of KYC data, or just not even increasing, forcing open source software wallets to apply KYC AML regulations to their software in some way. Same with mining pools, full node validators, full node operators, excuse me. And it's really attack on self-custody. At the end of the day, if passed, it would likely make millions of Americans who self-custody their Bitcoin criminals overnight. That, if not that, it would make them unable to use, or criminal if they're using wallet software that doesn't have KYC AML in it. I guess there's an interesting sort of catch-22 there. If people have it, Bitcoin in a public address and they don't use those wallets moving forward, are they criminals? I don't know. But yeah, it's pretty bad. Came out this week. A lot of people have been citing the fact that Elizabeth Warren has a pretty piss poor record of getting bills passed. I think she's put forth well over 300 bills, approaching 400. 0 have actually passed, but there are many out there that think this one probably has a better chance than the many bills she's tried to pass in the past. So yeah, and the coordinated nature about this, I mean, we discussed it last week, but going back to the Treasury's letter to the House Banking, or the Senate Banking House Financial Services Committees, quickly after that, you had the meeting on Capitol Hill with the largest banks and their executives in the Senate, in which Elizabeth Warren and Jamie Dimon were powwowing pretty hard, and then boom, the next week we get this bill. There's been a very obvious coordinated series of events from the letter to the hearing to this bill hitting the floor. And yeah, the attack's here. What do you think? Do you think this one has a higher probability of getting passed than the others in the...
Dude, I like betting on mempools. I just assume all this shit is going to get passed. That's usually my default. But yes, Warren is an incredibly corrupt politician. She's bought and paid for by the big banks. And
which is funny because she likes the LARP that she's against.
I know. It's particularly infuriating because of the virtue signal on the opposite front. But she doesn't care about America. She doesn't care about freedom. She just cares about her pockets. And yes, the majority of times her bills are mostly engagement farming for her next reelection and raising more money. And they don't usually have a good chance of passing, and she knows that. But this one, or at least something like it, it seems likely. To me, it seems more likely than not that we see increasingly burdensome regulation in America. And this is a point that I think both of us have been very consistent with for about 5 years now. And if anything, it's happening slower and later than I expected.
Yeah. And on that, I mean, Warren particularly is a cruel form of evil. This woman is evil. She's coming out here. And the other thing that's very frustrating is the whole event that incited this series of events from the letter to the hearing to the bill was the Wall Street Journal article citing Hamas moving something like $95 million worth of cryptocurrency to fund their invasion of Israel. And it was proven that it was likely less than $500,000 if they accepted it at all.
But it doesn't even matter because it's a strong fucking meme.
It's a very strong meme.
People just keep parroting it and repeating it regardless.
Yeah. You got to get to the truth here, though. The truth is that they're running with this false narrative to justify this. And in parallel, Logan, pull up the video I put in our Slack channel. This is what Elizabeth Warren is running with. Like, she's openly campaigning against Bitcoin, arguably the most powerful freedom.
Lower the volume.
That
Please, I don't want like Elizabeth Warren like blaring into my ears.
Well, she's browbeating Bitcoin and Bitcoiners and self-custody, and then pushing the CBDC. And she's acting like she's fighting for the little man while she's actively trying to cattle herd.
She cares.
The little man into the digital gulag that will be the CBDC.
A central bank digital currency that does not require miners to perform random number generation puzzles?
Yes, it is.
And could you design it so it wouldn't consume more energy than a middle-sized country?
Yes, you can.
And could we have a central bank digital currency that doesn't exacerbate the climate crisis and undermine environmental justice?
I think you could build a central bank digital currency which does not consume vast amounts of energy, yes.
Good. I'm glad to hear this. Look, cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin are terrible for the environment. And that would be true regardless of whether we were getting anything productive out of that energy usage or not. The fact that we're not.
Keep playing.
Thank you, Logan.
Even more scandalous. One of the easiest and least disruptive things we can do to
her voice is so annoying. Who wants to listen to
crack
this?
Down on environmentally wasteful cryptocurrencies.
Fuck you, Liz.
And now.
Fuck you. I have some bad news for you. We pulled up the wrong video. We got to get to the right video, which I just put in Slack. We've got another 56 seconds.
I don't want to hear
of Elizabeth Warren.
People can listen. Go listen to Tim Pool's podcast if you want to listen to Elizabeth Warren. I don't want to fucking listen to her.
Theory, a digital currency issued and backed by a central bank could provide the advantages of cryptocurrency without those risks. The Federal Reserve, a trusted institution, could provide a digital version of cash to the public that is secure, stable, and accepted everywhere. So let me ask you, Professor Menand, what role could a central bank digital currency play in reducing these kinds of risks to financial stability?
So a well-designed CBDC could serve as a public alternative to these cryptocurrencies and potentially crowd out their usage. In contrast to private digital currencies, CBDCs would be sovereign, non-defaultable money. They'd be cheaper to use, and they would not be subject to bank run dynamics.
Right. So that's very helpful.
Oh my God! I bet you that guy has a tiny mempool.
Matt, did you know that the Federal Reserve is a trusted institution?
Dude, I can't believe you made us listen to that. Yes,
It's important.
No,
I mean, you have
matter.
to call out their agenda. I mean,
not important.
blatant lies.
They can have fun staying poor. So, freaks, the reason we named this episode Bitcoin Hashrate all-time high is because I think because we were partially exhausted last week, or I was partially exhausted last week. I won't speak for Marty, but I think he's just permanently exhausted now alongside me. Is that the goal here? The goal here is to try and capture and control Bitcoin. What the suits don't realize is they cannot capture and control Bitcoin. What they can do is they can completely destroy Bitcoin industry in America. They can hurt the American tax base. They can hurt American individuals that want access to better money. And they can hurt American businessmen that are building businesses that will, take America to the next 100 years and beyond, and provide a very strong tax base with good paying jobs. And they're just fucking over our own country, but they are not fucking over Bitcoin. America needs Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't need America. And last but not least, the reason we named this episode Hashrate all-time high is because, first of all, the hash rate is at an all-time high. Second of all, I strongly believe that hash rate doesn't lead price or lag price. Hash rate is the price. Hash rate is the most free market humanity has ever seen. It's a market for energy for Bitcoin. It's completely permissionless. No one can stop you from accessing that market. And as a result, it is part of the reason why it's enemy number one by all of these suits. Because it doesn't matter if they shut down Binance. It doesn't matter if they shut down Tether. It doesn't matter if they shut down all this other shit. If they can't stop proof of work, if they can't stop miners from plugging in computers all around the world and without permission earning Bitcoin for the energy that they are consuming and their work that they're producing, they cannot control this market. They cannot manipulate this market and drive the price down like they did with gold, and they can't capture it. And so proof of work is the core of this whole fucking thing. And the overwhelming majority of this industry has pretended it's the problem that needs to be solved, while it's one of the core innovations that makes Bitcoin censorship resistant in the first place. So that's my rant. Elizabeth Warren can go fuck herself. And I hope I don't have to listen to her voice on RHR again.
We'll have some more Elizabeth Warren clips for you next week. This is going to be an Elizabeth Warren dissection show moving forward. Dissecting a sociopath that has vast control over the American people.
Fortunately,
maybe not
she
control.
probably has no Bitcoin. Diamond has a big bag of Bitcoin, but I don't think Liz does yet.
Yeah, but the environmental LARPing, just generally too. I mean, external to Bitcoin, you had COP28 or COP26. I don't even know what they're calling it. And you had Al Gore kvetching earlier this week on Twitter, begging people, like, if we don't come to an agreement to phase out fossil fuels by 2030, the world's going to end. This climate hysteria is fucking insane. It is never proven to be true. Carbon dioxide is not a pollutant. It is part of what makes life possible on this planet. And there is a concerted effort to demonize energy production, which has affected the narrative around Bitcoin pretty significantly due to the energy intensity of mining that Matt just described. But we need to take a step back as a society and just literally push these people in a corner and say, shut the fuck up. You're wrong. You're leading us down a path of ruin, literal ruin. You're destroying energy grid systems. You're just destroying energy production systems. I wrote a piece in the Bitcoin Times. We probably discussed it a couple of weeks ago, but Germany is the perfect example of this. And I ran the numbers. I did the data dissection.
He ran the numbers, freaks.
I ran the numbers. If you go to Germany in 2002, they were producing 115 gigawatts of energy, 115 gigawatts of energy capacity, on their grid system. 84% of that was nuclear, coal, natural gas. It was 94 gigawatts of that 115. Fast forward to 2022, that overall grid power generation capacity increased from 115 gigawatts to 241 gigawatts, more than doubled over the course of that 20 years. But it was mainly made up of wind and solar energy. Over that 20-year period, they reduced the amount of reliable base load in nuclear, natural gas, and coal by 27% to 77 gigawatts of the whole. Now it only makes up 34. The reliable energy only makes up 34% of their overall energy generation capacity. Over that 20-year period, prices have almost doubled, or more than doubled. They're up 187% for your average German household. And their actual energy production, like terawatt hours of production, is down 2%. They've more than doubled capacity. They've reduced their reliable base load in nuclear, natural gas, and coal, added a shit ton of wind and solar. Hey, newsflash, it's very cloudy in Germany, and it's not as windy as people would like it to be. And this has caused an increase in energy prices, a decrease in energy reliability, and caused deaths last year in the winter. There were more deaths from lack of access to reliable energy, and there were from the flu, also known as COVID. And they're trying to do this to the world. You have Al Gore complaining on Twitter, being like, if we don't do something, we're all going to die. We're not going to die. We're not going to die. Climate-related deaths have fallen by 99% over the last century. These people are, let's not assume malice, or I'm assuming malice. I think they want to control and kill us. But even if they're not malicious, they're certainly woefully incompetent idiots who should not have any control over this, and people shouldn't listen to them. Don't listen to these people. Don't listen to.
The majority are probably idiots, and then there's some malicious individuals there too.
Yeah,
it's usually a combination. Did you? By the way, I wasn't laughing at your premise. Did you see what Yellow posted in the chat?
No.
So when you go on rants, I just think about my grocery list, and then him and BTC Sessions were listing out the grocery list.
Steak, eggs.
But
That's
we
not
appreciate
nice, Yellow.
We appreciate you running the numbers.
I'm going red.
I do not actually think about my shopping list.
You know what, Yellow? We're going to kick you out of the chat. Logan, kick him out.
Fake news.
I'm
Do
kidding.
not censorship.
And I had something to say. Your fucking grocery list just ruined my
Yellow,
train of thought.
If you come to the Nostr live chat, I'm the dictator over in the Nostr live chat, so I won't kick you.
Marty Warren, Paulie, I don't appreciate that. Oh, I'm feeling all this right now. I watched Alex Jones is back on Twitter, and he posted his 2.5 hour long Bilderberg documentary last night. I fell asleep watching that Bilderberg documentary.
Did you see Elon admitted that Twitter's a honeypot, and all you?
I did not.
Just look the other way.
I did not.
I'll send Logan the link. But yeah, when I saw the Alex Jones news, I mean, so bullish for Nostr. I think Elon doesn't know the kind of. I mean, no man should have that much power, and they're just going to have so many issues going into elections. I wonder how long he lasts.
I don't know. We'll find out. I'm getting like PSYOP vibes all over the place. It's all too convenient. With that said, falling off the Warren rant, I think it's important to highlight that Bitcoin is an extremely innovative technology. Dhruv Bansal from Unchained released a paper, What Hath Satoshi Wrought? And I think it's really interesting. It's probably one of the most thought-provoking pieces around Bitcoin and the philosophy behind it that's been dropped in some time. And he essentially hones in on the finite supply of Bitcoin.
Look at this tweet.
Jesus Christ. Jesus
Look
Christ,
at this tweet.
Logan. Do you have any
tweet from 4 days
Logan,
ago.
do you have like any like timing.
Elon Musk.
I'm in the middle of like
Interesting.
something serious. Jesus Christ.
Elon Musk. Wait, pull it back up, Logan. Pull it back up. Look at this. Interesting. This note is being gained by state actors. Will be helpful in figuring out who they are. Thanks for jumping in the honeypot, guys. LMAO. He's telling you. He's just putting it all out there for everybody. You know, all you guys have blinders on. There's no conspiracy here. I'm literally taking Elon at his word when I talk about this shit. It's all based on public comments by Elon. Is my whole thesis.
I mean, I've said this before. Believe them when they tell you who they are. If somebody's wearing a Boba Fett costume.
This tweet was in response to a community note that he disagreed with. So, of course, if he disagrees with the community note, it's state actors. And then he accidentally told everyone that Twitter's a honeypot and that he was going to use it to dox whoever was doing the community notes.
All right, we done with this?
No. But, like, for now, we can be.
Yeah. Back to what I was saying. Drew Bonsall. Pull that up, Logan. Positive things. In terms of subjects that are thought-provoking and actually highlight Bitcoin's innovation and why it's so important as we transition into the digital age. Dhruv wrote, "What hath Satoshi wrought?" And it really goes into the finite supply, the 21 million being the key innovation. Many people historically have talked about the difficulty adjustment as the key innovation, myself included. And Dhruv admits, yes, it is very important and very clever. However, the finite supply, when you go back to the history of digital currencies that were attempted to be brought to market, Satoshi adding the finite supply was really pivotal. And he talks a lot about Wei Dai's B money and the way that auctioning system worked and why it inevitably led to the failure of B money. It's because you had this pricing and bid-ask model that really didn't facilitate B money in an efficient way, where if you just have a finite supply, it makes things much easier from a practical design perspective.
Anything else?
I think you should expand on that. Like, what are your thoughts? Finite supply or difficulty adjustment? What's more important?
They're both good.
You're not allowed to eat burgers before RHR anymore.
Stay humble and snacks ads. I mean, I love Dhruv. I prefer when he has like his aliens, shitcoining versus fork wars stuff.
This was good. This got into AI as well and how Bitcoin will be used by it. It's a bit sci-fi at that part.
I like the sci-fi shit.
Yeah.
I like near future, 50 years, 60 years. What's going on with Bitcoin? Let's run the mind on that. But yeah, I mean, I think, one of the interesting aspects, right, is one of the interesting aspects, if you look at cypherpunk history and you look at censorship-resistant digital e-cash history, is there was not much of a focus on this idea of a digital bearer token that accrues value over time. This idea of distributed proof of work with the self-calculating difficulty adjustment, and with the fixed supply. Like this, most of the work that had been done was how do we make dollars digital rather than create a completely new bearer token. But you need the bearer token, otherwise you have trusted third parties somewhere along the mix. And then you need the bearer token to either accrue value over time or stay stable over time. And the easiest way to do that is a fixed supply and just go for accrue value over time instead of trying pegging it to some kind of asset.
Yeah.
And that's how we ended up with Bitcoin. And it's marvelous. But like people don't realize that. Like there's no dichotomy. There's this idea that people have that there's two camps of people. There's like number go up Bitcoiners that just want to hold it to increase their purchasing power, and then there's Bitcoiners that want to spend it for censorship resistance. Like, yeah, those two tribes do exist because people are tribal and ridiculous. But you need both to be a successful, independent, non-nation state money. And it's the combination of the two that make Bitcoin truly remarkable.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. Elizabeth Warren wants to prevent us from using it. We're not going to let her.
She can't.
She can't. She can try.
More importantly.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, hash rate's at all-time highs. Can't stop the hash.
The accelerators, shout out to the acceleration crew out there. They love
Accelerate.
They love what Lizzie's doing. Accelerate. Just rip the Band-Aid off.
They came to the park. I gave a bunch of, at least of the Canadian portion of the the Accelerate group. I gave them free tickets to, I think it was Grassroots Bitcoin, one of the Bitcoin Park events they came down for. And we were sitting outside. They're like, Matt, you never
I was there.
Accelerate.
I got a hat.
What was that?
Just says Accelerate.
Was that September? Was that Grassroots Bitcoin?
No, it was July. It was Lightning.
It was a Lightning Summit.
Yeah.
That was like, I think I told them I've been an accelerationist since they were in diapers.
Which is when you were in diapers too, probably. So you're accelerating from a young age.
That is true. Our ages were relatively similar, you could tell.
Yeah.
Without doxing.
Yeah, I'm a big accelerator. They're always like, "Oh, Marty, you don't understand accelerate, yes." But these people do.
They
hate
should
you.
release a podcast.
Do you think Liz would like to see us in like a torture chamber for using a full node at some point in the future?
They always give me shit about that Stay Humble Stack Sats is decel and not acel. Like, of course it's accelerationist. Like, it is relentless stacking and pulling Bitcoin off the market. It accelerates everything. It is the ultimate accelerator. Just relentless stacking forever. And we never sell. We spend when necessary. Boom, done.
Is Get Off Zero XL?
Elizabeth Warren is irrelevant. The suits are irrelevant. The ETFs are irrelevant. Stack sats, improve your skills, secure properly, and never stop.
Yeah. Funny, I'm just had somebody hop in my Menchies here, trying to put a big own on me. I think it's a good learning opportunity that we've talked about before. Mining concentration. Bitcoin network hash rate is now controlled 80% by 4 miners. Is this decentralized? Hector Lopez, he's the CEO at Instasize, which is some stupid creator economy app.
Not a real company.
Not a real company. Hector Lopez, you're looking at a chart of Bitcoin pools, so it's not 4 miners, it's 4 mining pools have 80% of hash rate, and the ease with which an individual miner in that pool can switch pools is just changing a config file and pointing your hash rate at a different IP. Bitcoin, the fact that ASICs are physical and geographically distributed is the most important part here. Yes, it's disconcerting that there is a lot of hash rate concentration amongst pools, but this has happened historically throughout Bitcoin. Ghash, most famously in 2015, got 55% of the hash rate and quickly went to zero as people moved away from that pool.
Remove this guy's tweet from the page. Thank you. I mean, I agree with you, Marty.
We're putting a pre-RHR burger ban. Anybody in Nashville watching this, if he tries to eat a burger on a Thursday or Friday,
on that note, I do want to be like clear here. I do think Luke and Mark and Grassfed Bitcoin and the other guys building out Ocean have good intentions. I think they'll prove it out over time, over the next few months. We'll see, right? Don't trust, verify. We'll see how it goes. But I'm cautiously optimistic there after this last week. And I had some conversations with some peoples. But yeah. On that note, Marty, like, I just feel like, is it just because I'm an old person now?
You're not old. Don't age yourself. Don't try to be like the young guy. It's an old guy. You're not.
I'm the old man. This cycle, I'm going to be old man in RHR, and you're just going to be like young millennial addicted to social media. Like, those are the two templates like I'm going to go with RHR.
No, addicted to self-improvement. Workout.
Marty's
scheme,
like,
cold shower.
You know how you know Marty's at dinner? Because he just posted an Instagram post of his meal. You know, Like
I have
that's
not.
gonna be the
You can go to my Instagram account.
new
I posted
meme template was born. Marty, the social media or whatever.
my last Instagram post was like 2 years ago.
Anyway, where I was going with it is I just feel like it's just so useless. Like, who cares? Like, who wants to argue with Hector Lopez of Insta app or whatever his app is? Like, he's just wrong. And like in 5 years, he'll realize he's wrong and just fuck you, dude. Fuck you, Hector. Good luck. Have fun staying poor. I don't know.
I bet he voted for Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, exactly. He's probably proudly donating $20 to her. You know? Who gives a shit? Not me.
Obviously. I just thought it was a great learning experience. Popped up. Oh, have to mention, Logan, pull up the safehouse.com. Parker yelled at me last week because I did not show.
He definitely did yell at you.
Gradually then Suddenly is available for sale. I will actually be helping Parker tomorrow. He gets the books delivered, the first batch of books delivered. We'll be unloading the pallets. Go buy it. I wrote the foreword. It's an incredible book. If you're looking to hand somebody a piece of Bitcoin educational content to get probably the most dense Bitcoin in one lesson, this is it. Gradually then Suddenly. Very proud to have written the foreword. Parker has been working on, you guys should have been here. I had the behind the scenes look at how this book came together over the course of a year. And we love Parker Lewis, Mayor Lewis here in Austin. And
is he mayor yet?
Not yet. He's the non-official mayor. But working with him closely here in the Commons over the last 2 years, you learn that he's a very big attention to detail guy, and sometimes that attention to detail, it's a very good trait to have. That's why I'm happy we're working together. Not the biggest attention to detail guy. Parker meticulously paid attention to all the details in this book, down to the book cover, and I'm very happy that I don't have to talk about the book cover. And
what's the deal with the book cover?
It just there was a lot of iterations and. Forget his name.
What's the meaning behind the book cover?
It's so that's the front of the book, and it's man escaping the fiat storm to brighter pastures. Let me find what the fuck? The burger makes you very antagonistic.
You told us you weren't gonna. You're happy you don't have to explain the book cover, and I asked you 2 basic questions about the book cover.
No, I said I'm happy I don't have to. I'm happy I don't have to like discuss the iterations of the book cover. Parker, if you're out there listening.
So how did the iterations go? Like, what's the deal?
Logan, get Parker. Get Parker. Tell him to come in here.
If you have any questions for Parker, he said just DM him on Nostr. He has an account on Nostr. You can DM him there, ask him any questions, feedback. He's very responsive.
Well, he's extremely responsive. Logan just went and got him. He's going to come discuss.
Well, we'll have him explain the book cover.
We need you to explain the book cover. Here, come over here. You take my spot. Or should
just sit on Marty's lap. Just have him sit on your lap.
That's it. Just sit on my lap. It is Christmas. I don't have a beard.
What up, Parker? I told the freaks they could DM you on Nostr if they have any questions or feedback.
Hello, Matthew.
Hello.
I only came because the way that it was described was Marty demanded.
I did demand it.
See, Logan knows what he's doing.
Turn my headphones.
We can hear you, Marty. I can hear you, Marty. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
I was describing the attention to detail that you put into this book.
Yeah, can we pull up the full cover?
We can try.
Yeah, I want to talk at detail about this cover. Marty said he didn't want to talk about it, so
it's either on my blog or it might be hard to get to on TFTC. Can you go
just
to
search Parker Lewis Gradually, then suddenly TFTC SEO should be like number 1 or 2.
If you go to primal.net/Parker, you can just pull it up from his Nostr page. It should be listed right over there.
Put a lot of detail into this.
Well, that's what I was describing. you're a man who is meticulously focused on the details. This book, the amount of effort that went into this book was awe-inspiring to watch.
Yeah. Okay.
And who's the name of the artist again? I just know him from
He goes by Proof of Paint.
Proof of
Yeah,
Paint.
yeah, it's in there. Keep going. Right there.
Did you see Yellow's comment, Marty?
No, I didn't see Yellow. I'm not looking at any of Yellow's comments anymore.
Okay. It's a little bit racist. I'm not going to read it.
Can you turn my headphones up?
Are they all the way off right now?
They're much better.
So first, the artist goes by Proof of Paint.
Great name.
To be remaining pseudonymous. Marty, I can't pronounce the word.
Pseudonymous.
Pseudonymous. Okay.
Pseudonymous.
So never actually met in person, but was able to get a piece of art done and paid for.
In
Different
Bitcoin?
continents in Bitcoin. Yeah.
Did you issue them a 1099?
No, but
Matt, what the
a
fuck?
Zapprite invoice was issued to be able to complete the payment. Okay, so I'll go through. So the way I describe this is
Jesus Christ, you of all people.
Sorry,
remember
Parker.
when-
I ate a burger before our chart.
Matt. Do you remember when we recorded in Rod's garage? And you were asking if
the lost episode. The lost episode.
the lost episode. It was something about like if the electrician is licensed. Like
No,
make sure you have a license. Like Matt wanted the state
I
to
said
license.
you should get a licensed electrician, and Parker hit me with who will build the electricians. And I'm a statist.
All right. So the backstory on the cover. So I described this as the an allegory of the individual's journey to Bitcoin. And so if you start on the right side, which is the front cover, it's a person in a storm. The storm is the fiat system. They're trying to get out of the storm, rowing with their back to the ultimate target. And then the front cover bleeds to the back, and on the front, the light is starting to come through, but then on the back cover is basically, front cover, you're beginning your journey to Bitcoin, you're in the fiat storm, but you don't really know it. You're just rowing, trying to get out. And then hopefully you read the book, start to understand Bitcoin, and that when you do start to understand Bitcoin, it becomes clear that it's more than just money. It's certainly not stock trading on the screen, but it's more than just money. It's freedom, and not in the sense of, if I have all the money in the world, that I'll get whatever I want, but that, Hayek described money as one of the greatest instruments of freedom that was ever invented by man, because it results in your ability to produce value for others and then convert it into a range of choice wider than, just a few generations ago couldn't be imagined. And that that's part of it. But then the other part of it is that once you start to have a form of money that can't be printed and that actually works in your favor, you start to be able to focus your time and energy on things you actually want to do rather than just working to pay bills, which I think most people are caught in the trap of. And so that's basically the statue. The person on the back cover is basically out of the storm, tired but relaxed, seeing Bitcoin for what it is, an instrument of freedom. And then the person observing the painting, which is on the back cover, is supposed to be a person years later viewing themselves on their own journey, which being able to see the full picture, because I like to think that you can't really see the fiat storm until you see Bitcoin, and that once you see Bitcoin, that's actually what allows you to see the storm that you were in and didn't yet realize. And so
I love this. Why the Statue of Liberty?
It's technically not the Statue of Liberty. It's supposed to hearken to the idea.
Wait,
of
you
the
didn't
statue.
you didn't pay copyright or whatever for the Statue
No,
of Liberty?
just
You have to
I
give
didn't
them-
want to make people think. Maybe the idea wasn't they're supposed to hearken to the symbol of freedom, rather than hearken to somebody being in the dirty Hudson River.
Yeah, I was gonna say
in New York.
RFK cleaned it up.
My decade-long cynic take over this beautiful art, to be honest, is most people's typical Bitcoin journey is they start in the fiat storm, they paddle their way out of it, then they land at the shores of Lady Liberty and they comply with the bit license.
No,
Like
no.
the journey of the suit Bitcoiner. You know,
we're restoring the honor of Lady Liberty.
I love it.
But yeah,
Should we plug the conversation we haven't had yet, but plan on doing either tomorrow or next week?
yeah, we can.
Marty
do that.
sucks at segues. When is that?
Jesus fucking Christ, dude. This might be the most disgruntled couple episode we've had in a while.
The books are
out.
1,000 copies of the books are arriving here in Austin tomorrow, and the rest of the books are heading to Safe's warehouse for shipping. I think the ones in Europe have already arrived.
Oh, we should actually mention this.
How do you buy them? Where do you go? Safehouse.com or something?
The Safe House.
Thesafehouse.com.
But it's spelled not safe. It's spelled SAIF.
Yes.
Safety.
Yeah. It's spelled safe, but not safe. It's confusing.
But yeah, so Marty and I are going to record a podcast once the books are formally here. But Marty starts his forward. He wrote the forward to the book. You guys might have mentioned that earlier.
I did.
But
It was the first thing he mentioned, if you're surprised.
and he talks about his own experience being in high school when the financial crisis happened. And I start my introduction with David Faber's question to the CEO of Bear Stearns as to why Goldman Sachs wouldn't take the counterparty risk of Bear Stearns. And I think that, one of the things that I frame in Graduate and Suddenly, and kind of one of the things that I think when I wrote not just about Bitcoin, but it's, solving a problem of the dollar and kind of being able to articulate what the problem is with the dollar and central banking in a way that people can connect to, is that really beyond just the timing of Bitcoin's launch being, 10/31, 2008, January 3rd, 2009.
Great plug.
That the reason for Bitcoin's existence is the financial crisis and solving the financial instability and fragility of the fiat system. And so we were going to do a podcast just talking about our own experiences back
That's so
then
exciting.
of what the financial crisis, because I do think, and you're probably part of this. I don't know how whether Matt was of age during the financial crisis, but
Parker, you have a baby face, but most people don't realize you're late 50s. Like you remember the financial crisis so much clearer than all of us.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Matt's from New York, so he probably has a good sense of it. But I just don't think that most people, when they're evaluating Bitcoin, know that it's tied to the financial crisis, or that's really what it's here to solve. And so,
2008 was a big one for me. It was like 2001 was a big one. 2008
Matt
was a
was
big
in
one.
fifth grade, and
2013 was a big one.
His
WikiLeaks or Snowden?
Snowden was 2013.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean,
Those are like my three dates. 01, 08.
and we're going to record a podcast about it. When I was 17, and it hit me hard. Senior in high school, fall of 2008. What the hell's going on? I'm about to
What's
go
your
to
social
college.
security number?
It's 924.
I literally just remember people who are probably my age now just getting tapped left and right, losing their livelihoods. I remember seeing, I worked at in the M&A group at Deutsche Bank, and I remember seeing like 15 people in the group head's office, a year out of college, being like, "What's going on in there?" And then I think at the time it was like about the Lehman Brothers, like potentially like a takeover of Lehman Brothers or a rescue. And then, I remember where I was like, that weekend just before the Lehman Brothers filing a bankruptcy on whatever Monday morning it was, September 15th. So
Yeah.
I think formative for a lot of us that were conscious and of, kind of just coming into working age around the time.
Yeah. The pivotal point in my life, and I know we pulled you in here from a hard day's work, but I do want to expound because I do think it's important, particularly going to the safe house too. We've talked about this over the last few weeks. Like, it is cool to see something come to fruition, which many Bitcoiners have said, like, we're going to have to build the things we want better. And just to give a plug to Safe and the Safe House, I think he's doing it with that. What's your experience been? What's your reasoning for doing it exclusively through the Safe House?
Yeah, I think that one, getting my book done was a nightmare. Not sure I ever want to do it again. But I was working with a third party that basically had a turnkey solution for helping people self-publish, and one of the reasons why I wanted to self-publish was so that I could own the rights fully and do whatever I wanted with Graduate and Suddenly. But in May, right after I had paid an invoice, I got rugged basically by the company that helps people self-publish. They basically went under. And Safe
So they
had
kind of
worked
rugged themselves.
well, they rugged themselves, but they rugged me.
And you.
Yeah, and anybody else who was working with them. But Safe had worked with them for the fiat standard, and so I reached out to him, and I thought maybe he was working with them on the principles of economics, and he told me that he wasn't, but that he had figured out kind of a better way to do it on his own, and he was very gracious and generous and helpful in helping connect me to the people that he had worked with. And so like it probably would have died on the vine if he hadn't provided the help that he had. So I was incredibly appreciative of that. And then he asked if I wanted to have the book printed by the same people and on the Safe House, and the quality of Principle of Economics is phenomenal. I don't know if I think I have your copy out there. But anyways,
Took my copy.
Wait, so
he
no
asked-
Kindle?
No, there's a Kindle version. It's available on the Safe House.
So it's
too.
not exclusive. Oh,
Or I don't know if there's a Kindle version. There's an ebook version.
oh,
that
so
you
you
can
just download it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty bold. Like Amazon, I mean, Bezos can go fuck himself. But like among readers, like Amazon has a pretty strong network effect in terms of the Kindle books. Like people like just pressing the buttons and
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that,
my point is I'm applauding you because it takes a lot of courage to go with the sovereign freedom option over the convenient engagement first option, and that's quite impressive.
yeah, I think that, there's a few things that's like, I'm not trying to cut off my nose to spite the face. It's that I think that what Safe's creating is very valuable. I think it creates a good filter. One, the Bitcoin standard was formative for me in my own understanding of Bitcoin. So being able to have
Really?
Gradually and Suddenly, yeah, like an early version of it, like things, will help me first understand Bitcoin, like 2016, and then also conversations with Safe, similarly, and then in 2017 he was working on the early transcript. So I'd say like I'd had my like aha moment of Bitcoin in like late 2016, early 2017, but everything wasn't ordered. And then Safe sent a number of us an early draft of the Bitcoin standard, and it was like everything fit into place. I still had to work through incremental logical barriers to be able to like consistently arrive at the conclusion. That's what I tried to capture in Gradually and Suddenly. But now being able to have Gradually and Suddenly on Safe site and next to the Bitcoin standard, not only is it an honor for me, but I think it's also long-term good for the book and the dissemination of it. And then, to have it there exclusively too, I think just it sends the signal, and, kind of had some back and forth with Safe on it, but it's like, it was something that I wanted to do because, when I was thinking about the economics of, I put a lot of effort into that book, and that, it's hard to extract the value back out for, helping somebody understand Bitcoin is really a priceless thing because you can't put a value on it until after the fact. You can't price it effectively. But that one, just owning, having Bitcoiners own more of the process and ensuring the quality, and that also, that store over time will create a filter. There will be so much noise on Amazon. And if it's a good quality product, people will find it, if they want it. And then the margin of, taking Amazon is like, a volume game, and I'm of the mind that I'm not in this to sell millions of copies. I want to sell copies to the right people, and that if it's a high quality product, people will find their way there, and then I'll be able to keep more of it.
Parker, you just explained why I'm Nostr only.
Well, is that a conversation for today or another day?
No, we already had the conversation. We're in agreement. That's my point. Thanks for joining us. Everyone go buy Parker's book. No, your explanation
Matt,
for what you're doing with your book was basically why I'm Nostr only. You just summed it all up in a nice, clear cut.
Maybe I'll start thinking about it in that context, and maybe I'll come to a different conclusion.
Look,
we're making progress here.
After block height, what is it? Block height 1,050,000.
Yeah.
Will convinced you about Bitcoin. He'll convince you about Nostr. I see Will on Nostr. But you're already there.
Matt, could you tweet out on Nostr that the book
gradually, then suddenly.
Yeah.
It applies to many things. No. Thank you for writing the book. Thank you for inviting me to write the foreword. And I do think you're going to sell millions of copies through the safe house.
We'll just got to move the first 5,000 to get it out of the...
You heard it here. We've got 10,000 people on the live stream right now. Everybody go buy 2 copies.
Yeah, at least 20.
Yeah, at least 20.
You don't even have to read it. Just put it on your shelf.
If it's a really...
You should read it.
So that's something also. The book is a cloth cover, khaki linen. I have not yet seen the physical proof, so I just kind of YOLO'd that one. But it's going to be really high quality, and if you don't have 19 friends that you can buy this book for,
or family members,
who do you really care about in this world?
There's a lot of autists who watch this show that may not have friends, so that was probably triggering for.
But this could be a way to get those friends.
It's kind of mean. It's kind of
but this could be one of those ways to get those 19 friends.
Hey, you just go up to people, your stack, and gradually then suddenly like, hey, do you want to be my friend? Here's a book.
Will you take this book? Parker told me I have no friends.
And if you read it, you might be my friend.
It is funny.
It's like now is the time to get your friends and family.
I know.
See
I'm
a
keeping
different
you.
side of Bitcoin.
Now we're going down rabbit holes because we were discussing this right before we hit record.
Christmas is coming up, right? If you have like 10 no coiner family members, like what do you do?
Let me know if we're keeping you hostage for too long.
No, I'm okay.
Because I do think the Seneca reference was a good reference, a good discussion that we had before Matt hopped in here.
Wait, if we're gonna keep Parker here, can we at least see Marty? Like I just
I like this. I like this mystique. Logan, do you want to adjust it? We can adjust it.
I mean, I really can't
Marty,
see Matt because he's behind the camera.
Yeah,
Marty, what were you saying?
Parker came in. We were talking this idea.
Wait, so Parker can't see me? I just felt like we were making eye contact the whole time.
Well, you're behind a camera, so I can see your.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I never see you during RHR, Matt. the camera's there, and I know what your face looks like.
I can see now, Matt.
But Parker came in. What were you explaining? You read a passage of Seneca that you wanted me to listen to.
Yeah, so I don't know. This is a terrible segue.
Why? Because I think it applies to what we're saying. Get the book in the hands of individuals.
There we go.
Let's get the
beautiful.
So I was listening to. So there's this audio book that Tim Ferriss helped create and it's like Letters from Seneca, and like ancient Greece, and he's talking about how in like one of these letters how basically the madness of crowds, and that it's really hard to resist the despite how crazy a crowd may be, to resist the majority, and that you either typically join the majority or you loathe the majority because they're batshit crazy. And I think it was just like, it made me think about like the present state. The present state that we're in, where like most of the world seems to have gone mad. But then he makes the point, he's like, you have to reject both of those. It's not just join the majority or loathe the crowd. You can't loathe the crowd. You need to basically
stay humble,
resign yourself to yourself, and then associate with like-minded people, and seek those people out, and basically build strong communities.
Yeah.
Let's
and
fucking
also
go.
just like when a lot of us think about, however long ago we think about man as being very primitive, but like, sitting there walking around my neighborhood, Austin, Texas, beautiful. You should all move here. But listening to that, it's like, yeah, these same things have played out, over centuries or millennia. And it's just incredibly prescient because the default thing is to say, yeah, that crowd's mad, and to like have that like hate, toward it, to like, and to you got to be able to reject that.
The people in charge want you to hate each other. They want everyone to hate each other. Logan, pull up the link I sent you. Did you guys see this poll?
Yeah, it's insane.
On price controls, 80% of Democrats approve of price controls, 56% of Republicans approve of price controls, 62% of independents. People are universally retarded, regardless of political affiliation.
Yeah, it's insane.
I think, and also, like, propaganda works. Dude, they started talking about this, since, Bidenomics, of like, these corporations are charging too much money
At the gas pump.
and they need to stop being greedy. Inflation's coming down, like stop increasing your prices. And it's like, you drill that message in to a broad set of the population, and people are going to say like, yeah, like, why not? That guy's a billionaire. Why is he charging more for gas?
Yeah,
It's like it's an easy narrative to
The
latch
greedy
onto.
gas station owners, they need to lower their prices.
Or the person that's selling the gas.
I think
gas
Biden
station.
specifically said like the gas station owners. It wasn't like big oil companies. It was the greedy gas station owners.
Do you remember? This is funny. I always like. I don't think it was this summer. I think it was the summer before, where they were championing 16 cents of deflation. Like,
yes.
Around like July.
Around Thanksgiving.
Like,
I think.
No, I think it was July 4th. It was like,
yes, it
was a
was.
July 4th, the cost of the things that you get at July 4th, like hot dogs and hamburgers, like had 16 cents of deflation. It's like, okay, one, that's just false. But then two, the fact that they were, championing and celebrating, like
16 cents.
And then the fact that we went from there to like, that clearly failed, to like, it's the greedy corporations, if we need to, we'll cap prices. And that people are like, yeah, I mean, shit, inflation's bad. Like, please cap prices. Like, it's a very first order reactive thing. But all of it is just like, if you tell that message to a broad set of people, it's going to work. Propaganda works. That's the mass delusion, mass psychosis.
No, and then going back to like the Seneca reference, and this has been done many times throughout history. I was telling you, like during the fall of Rome, the Benedictine monks went out to the countryside as Rome was devolving and just created this complete parallel society. And it was actually a thriving society for I think like 150 years as Rome fell. Eventually,
What happened?
They just went out to the countryside and said, we're not going to...
What happened after, like, how'd they fall? Not Rome. Their little citadel outside of Rome.
I don't think it ever fell. I think Benedictine monks are still around.
They're like killing it. They still got their citadel.
I don't know if they still have the citadel, but I don't know. That's a good history lesson.
But I don't know. Like, I deleted Twitter from my phone.
Nice.
Finally last week, but I'll still get on it with my on the computer, and I gotta like sell books, so can't just sell to Matt and his couple of friends on Nostr. But
there's dozens of us.
No, I didn't
Wait,
want
Parker, to be clear, I have not purchased a book yet.
That's ridiculous.
I have not purchased a book yet.
You're gonna push 20 books. That's
yeah.
why.
I do have 19.
You're waiting. He's waiting for them to be on Amazon.
I want the Kindle version.
Matt
Just
will not.
Easy and convenient. Just click it. I want my DRM built right into the PDF.
Matt will not buy the book unless Jeff Bezos gets his rake.
No, I mean that's bullshit. Like I want the hard copy so I can put it on my bookshelf. Like
yeah,
so
no, 100%. I'll drive it.
Showcase.
to Nashville
That's the
for
best part, is putting it on the bookshelf.
you. No, but the point I was making is just like there's when I get on, you just observe just how much negativity there is.
Oh, it's bad.
You know, and that idea.
What
of
on
like,
Twitter?
Yeah, but it's also societally. Like I was,
It's
at
just
my parents'
poor
house and the
people
news was
fighting
on.
with each other.
Yeah. And the idea that it's like, you either join the majority or you loathe the majority. That's kind of
No, it's even worse
most
than
people's-
that at this point.
and that you just have
Well, that's
to
the
like,
frame you're putting in.
You're-
Loathe
that's
or join.
and you gotta
It's-
reject both of them.
It's
Yeah.
like Anchorman. Like current Twitter is like Anchorman, when like that fight scene where all like the anchors all go down and do the battle royale. It's like it's a bunch of smaller in groups, and they're all just like fighting multiple battles for
Yeah.
engagement, and because they're fucking addicted to the dopamine hit. So everyone's just fighting with each other on insane shit. It's like you literally wake up in the morning, you open Twitter, it's like, what are we fighting about today? Like, what is the topic du jour to fight about with some outgroup person who I'm never going to talk to in a million years otherwise?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
you just have to opt out.
And what do you, I mean, been a big topic this week, Matt. I know you and I have talked about this, Parker. I'm sure you've seen it, but leaning into the propaganda, do we think there's a lot of predictive programming going on right now? We talked about, what was that movie called with the cyber pandemic?
What, the Civil War movie?
No, the Civil War. I was going to bring up the Civil War.
I'm
I
pretty
think
excited for the Civil War movie.
The Civil War one seems more like power, like way better predictive programming. They're literally trying to predictive program like a civil war in the United States. Have you seen that trailer yet?
No.
I mean,
It's
the best part is
Coming out
the
spring
best part is
2024.
the best part is Nick Offerman's the president.
Yeah.
I'm a big Nick Offerman stan. Look, I mean, I don't know where you people have been. Like, Hollywood has always been full of propaganda. I don't think it's necessarily heated up lately. I think part of the situation is we're in this weird situation where Hollywood propaganda movies should all be anti-China, but they're all fucking cucks and want to make as much money as possible in China, so they refuse to make China the enemy in any of the movies. Like Mission Impossible was just an AI. Like nobody knew who it was. And like Sam Esmail of Mr. Robot, he just came out with his own End of the World movie. Like they don't say who it was. And one of the characters like makes an insinuation that maybe it's North Korea. But like really it's supposed to be China. Like it's supposed to be China in the movie, and they're just completely ignoring that. I think that is the more interesting takeaway.
Hollywood.
From these movies.
Do you know the etymology of Hollywood?
What do you mean?
The holly tree. I believe in either like pagan or druid mythology. The wood from the holly tree like could cast spells. And that's part of the reason why Hollywood's called Hollywoods. They're casting spells. Propaganda ones.
If the conspiracy theory is that Hollywood wants more people to be on our level, that shit can break down chaotically at any point in fucking time, and that they should take more personal responsibility, then I'm cool with that psyop.
There's a
Like,
mandibles
that's-
line in here somewhere.
I'm fine with that psyop. And mandibles is happening. We're living through it right now. Like, it is what it is.
Mandibles first, then Bitcoin standard.
Then Bitcoin standard, yeah. That's what I said in all caps to that fucking YouGov poll about price control.
It does feel like things are accelerating, though. Like
Acceleration was a
mean,
big
just-
topic before you hopped in here.
just like
But like that Mr. Robot movie, The World We Left Behind or whatever. Like I watch it. Do you watch it?
No.
It was too soft. Like it should have went fucking harder in my opinion. But like what's the propaganda? The propaganda is what I said 2 weeks ago, which is if you have no internet for 3 days, the whole country is going to go into fucking chaos. And I think that's completely realistic. Like what I mean, do you think otherwise? Do you think America is going to be cool if we have no internet for 4 days?
I mean,
I still think power over internet. The power goes out, yes. Internet, I think people will survive.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
power and internet. But yeah.
I just think it's like, were humans okay when the bubonic plague happened? Like
Europe
Somewhere.
lost a third of them.
I know, but I'm just saying like people made it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't disagree with you, Parker. I plan on making it. That's the hope.
That's the
goal.
hope. We don't know until we get into it, but I don't know. I also look at places that have hyperinflation, and people make it there every day. I think that there can be this default to thinking that, internet being out for 3 or 4 days is going to be a lot worse than it is. In reality, maybe that would be like the best thing for all of us to,
our sanity.
Get out of the panopticon for a hot minute and have some stressors. But I also think just like you have to be optimistic.
No fucking way, man.
You have to approach the world optimistically in order to be able.
You're too much of a doomer, bro.
Oh my God, I'm just fucking realistic, man. Fucking open your eyes. We're just gonna kumbaya.
No, not kumbaya.
Oh, it's so nice. It's good that we have the detox. We don't have to doom scroll anymore.
No, I don't. I don't mean like that. I'm just saying that to expose yourself to some stress. That to look around the world and say hey, how are people surviving in Lebanon with hyperinflation?
They just devalued the black market rate of pesos in Argentina by 50%.
No, I thought they devalued the official rate.
No, I think they came after the black market rate too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, shouldn't it just be one rate now? Isn't that the whole point?
Yeah, I think that's what they did.
I think you might be wrong.
I mean, if there's just one rate and it's a real rate, then the black market rate should be the rate, basically.
Yeah, I think what I read was that they devalued the official rate.
I was talking to Matthew. Matthew Mazinchus said what did he text me? He texted me after.
Hey, do you guys remember we talked about this? Was on a rabbit hole recap a couple months ago.
Malay officially devalued the black market rate. That's what Mazinchus texted me yesterday.
Then search about the official.
I love how your source is just a DM from Matt, which is actually a pretty solid source.
Yeah, he's the one following all this stuff.
But about how Malay's kind of a shitcoiner because he wants to dollarize.
I think it's just that's the natural step. I mean, I'm not like the Malay hump train. Politicians aren't going to save us. But I mean, it's the logical step is first you switch to the most stable shitcoin, like the strongest shitcoin.
Okay.
And then you open monetary freedom and competition, and people can choose which money they want to use, right?
Parker, you may be right. He devalued the official exchange rate by 50% to catch up to where the unofficial rate is.
Yeah, so it's the real rate now, which is how it should be. Which, by the way, in any of these countries, regardless of politician, the real rate is how much you can get for selling Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And that was actually shameless plug here, but go watch that episode with Matthew because he has a chart that highlights Bitcoin per peso on the black market, and it's tightly correlated. The value of Bitcoin, the purchasing power of Bitcoin compared to the black market rate, and what it can get you is extremely correlated.
I'm just saying, why wouldn't, if Malay got Bitcoin, which I don't think he does, and I'm not saying dictating to make it legal tender, but to be incorporating it as an answer. It's just all dollars. You're closing. You want to close your central bank, but just rely on the U.S. central bank. And then he's hobnobbing with American politicians, which doesn't seem to be of the same tenor as his just the general tone that he ran on of these parasites.
Don't act so surprised, Parker. The key takeaway here from Malay and Argentina is that if your society goes through 5 periods of hyperinflation in 100 years, you will get a WEF approved libertarian candidate finally. That is it's that's the kind of pressure and pain that people need to take to finally pick someone that at least is running on a libertarian reduced state kind of position. Otherwise you just won't even get it. And even when you do get that kind of person, they're going to have to be WEF approved and friends with all the other suits. It's on the website.
Oh, really?
Apparently he denounced them. I don't know.
His first order of business is visiting Jerusalem, as a state visit, his first state visit. I don't know, he wants to use the U.S. dollar, and it kind of makes sense, right? What, you're gonna fight all your battles? You're
No,
gonna
I'm
try and
saying,
fight the WEF while you're fighting hyperinflation.
Well, this goes back to what we discussed. Like, this is not like Malay. Maybe you could say Bukele did this, but I don't. Maybe that's an outlier. It's gonna have to be grassroots, people demanding.
Yeah, that's my.
We're not using your currency anymore. We're using Bitcoin. Like, it is our right. We're gonna use it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the story of El Salvador. The story of El Salvador isn't Bukele top down adding Bitcoin as legal tender. Is a story of Bitcoin Beach doing it without permission, to the point where Bukele couldn't ignore it anymore and had two choices: either try and ban it or adopt it and embrace it. And his hand was pushed, and he adopted it and embraced it instead of attacking it.
Yeah, I don't necessarily. There are probably more options than just two, where it's like, hey, maybe it influenced him. He observed it and said, like, hey, I want to see more of this. Let me embrace this and get behind it.
I mean, yeah. Props are due. He cut 30% of federal government workers this week.
I thought he wasn't technically the president this week. That could have been bad information. Like, wasn't there some thing that he had to technically resign because he's going to run again? And
no, that's Bukele. Bukele made his
Malay.
Malay.
Wait.
Well, Bukele's cutting people too.
Wait, no. Bukele made his secretary president for the next 6 months because that allows him to run for a third term, because he stepped down from his presidency for 6 months before he runs for his third term. That's what's going on right now in El Salvador.
Oh, I thought this was his first term. No,
or maybe I think it's
you can't run. I think you can't have.
He can't run for a second term, but either way, his secretary is going to be president for 6 months so that he can legally do it.
Yeah. Okay, so you were talking about Malay though.
Yeah.
Cut 30%.
Cut nine ministries immediately.
I'm just saying, if you want a prosperity for your country and your people, you'd be helping them, or you'd be talking about Bitcoin.
Teaching them how to use app right.
I'm just saying, I think there's a chance that, he is WEF.
I wouldn't be surprised.
The point is, it doesn't fucking matter. Politicians aren't going to save us. Stop acting like they're going to.
We agree there. Matt, we do have to hop here in 15 minutes.
Why?
Because we have to do something at 3 p.m.
Oh, we have our call, yeah. Fair enough.
Did you guys already talk about Ledger?
Yes.
Yeah.
How bad is that in your mind?
I'm still trying to get my head around it.
It's not for Bitcoiners. It's just Ethereum people are compromised.
Okay.
They live in their whole other world. Like, they're doing dApps and shit.
It's a account drain bug in dApps that leverage JavaScript, and Ledger was just blindly
Are you upset
accepting.
that they have you saying the word DApp?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the story of RHR. It's just weeks and weeks of it being all so tiresome.
Yeah. Years. Years.
So, I mean, if we only have 15 minutes, I'm curious, Parker. I have on the list, FASB just changed their accounting rules on Bitcoin. That seems pretty big to me. Just for the listeners, the difference is like if a MicroStrategy was holding Bitcoin on their balance sheet, they had to adjust the value of the Bitcoin when the Bitcoin went down, but when it went up, they weren't able to adjust it back up and say that they had a gain. So that changes that accounting rule. Parker, do you think this is a big deal, or is it overhyped?
I think it's probably overhyped. I think it definitely reduces the barrier of it eliminates some red tape box that need to be checked, or that somebody could check and say, hey, this is why we're not going to do this. But I think, as MicroStrategy has shown, they report their public financial statements, and everyone ascribes the Bitcoin to market value.
Yeah, they go and figure it out afterwards. Anyway.
Yeah, so it's like people are valuing the company based on the market value. It does tangibly make public companies balance sheets more reflective of their financial standing by allowing them to mark Bitcoin to market.
It's how it should be. Yeah.
It's how it should be. So it's like super logical. I just don't think that in a real way or any significant way that some public company was out there saying like, I grok Bitcoin and I'm not going to own it because they're going to force me to carry it on my balance sheet at a lower value.
Yeah, exactly. But the one big thing that this does change is this bull cycle, like MicroStrategy is going to be essentially reporting paper Bitcoin gains as profits, right? So like there's going to be periods where they're the most profitable business in the world, and CNBC is going to be reporting on that. No?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that.
Did they report them as profits or just?
They'll report them as unrealized gains that will hit the.
It'll be in all their reports.
It'll be on the P&L because if they're going to mark it on their balance sheet, you know, if say Bitcoin doubled and they have a $5 billion unrealized gain or whatever their current market value of Bitcoin is, then they would have to put that on their earnings.
They'll be like the most profitable company in the world for a couple quarters during the bull market.
I mean, I think Apple has more than $5 billion of quarterly profit, but maybe if we, I might be, if Bitcoin if Bitcoin quintuples, then which is inevitable.
Wait, it's like 5x? Is it quintuple?
Yeah,
we're gonna more than quintuple.
Yeah, I mean, yes,
I'm saying
obviously
when that happens, I'm not saying.
Yeah,
I was thinking about like a humble 10x in my theory, and like when I was doing it.
Yeah, so it is. Like, I mean, I do think it's I do think it's a positive change. Will have positive marginal effects, but I do think they'll be marginal.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I think there could be something on like the people's
I don't know.
Like
I do
debt covenants where like, if you had Bitcoin and then your assets, your equity, technically your book value of equity technically dropped, a bank might do something, but if the company's otherwise profitable, like I just still I don't actually think it was an impediment to people owning Bitcoin. I think it's really hard for a board of people to form a majority. If you think about like 1 out of 100 people get Bitcoin today, it's hard to put 5 out of 10, in a concentrated way to get there, unless you have somebody like Jack Dorsey or Michael Saylor, or for a period of time, Elon Musk. Like if Elon Musk actually got it, I'm sure Tesla would have a lot more Bitcoin. But it's hard to think about a corporate board getting to the point of having a consensus about Bitcoin.
Agreed.
Well, that's why it was key that Saylor had control.
Yeah, or had a lot of influence.
But I do think
rather than control,
whether or not it's the FASB rulings, like there is this subset of people in certain institutions that get Bitcoin and want to allocate for it, but are waiting for permission, whether that's regulatory permission or redefining the mandates of their capital allocation strategy to fit Bitcoin into a certain sleeve. And I find that completely asinine. Like if you get Bitcoin, you grok it, create its own sleeve, just throw it in there. Like,
yeah, but I'm still saying anybody that really gets it, they're not waiting. Like they're changing something to allow it. I think that certainly does apply to a swath of the population, but the people who are on the periphery that, are going to buy Bitcoin because it's going up and they're going to sell Bitcoin because it's going down.
Yeah. Maybe you should wrap up. Money printer about to go burr in 2024.
I read that article on TFTC summarizing
Jerome Powell's comments.
Yeah. So did they come out with something today?
They should. There's probably something going on as we're recording.
Okay.
Because they usually do the comments in the press conference the day after.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I think I saw some headline that said
the dot plot changed.
Rates are coming. Rate cuts are coming.
Dot plot changed. Show more rate cuts in 2024.
Wow. I might have to stay humble and stack sats about it.
I think that it's kind of crazy that there's certainly many things that are like technically and fundamentally broken with rates having gone up, but that it's just going to be really difficult for them, absent a stock market crash in a full-blown liquidity crisis to actually cut rates. Because while people are feeling the impact of inflation and it's suffocating people, like, to think that the Fed, the Fed's going to need the cover of markets collapsing to reduce interest rates, in my mind. I could be wrong about that, but it's just hard to fathom.
I could see a scenario where Jerome Powell gets waterboarded by Janet Yellen every night. It's like, it's an election year, sir. Need you to cut rates. No, but I agree. I think they won't be appropriately justified, unless there's some sort of liquidity crisis.
Yeah, I'm just saying it would be very rational for them to do it, because I think that they're seeing that things are breaking in the numbers. But it's just practically very difficult to cut when the populace is feeling rampant inflation, and this will be perceived to say, wait, this is going to cause more inflation.
Yeah. We need price controls. I think that's the answer.
Did they do price controls in the mandibles?
Yes. They had a failed treasury auction too.
Classic. Did they?
Yeah. Marty, you have to read Boost before we wrap.
All right.
And I just to add on to what you guys said, I would caution. I think a lot of the powers that be actually think they have inflation under control right now. Like, if you listen to Bloomberg, they are amazed that risk assets and equities and all this shit is still up in a high rate environment. And I think the discrepancy is that they actually believe the bullshit inflation numbers, and they don't realize that we're still in a high inflation environment.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
If they repeat it to themselves enough times, the propaganda works on.
Yeah, I think they're literally sitting in rooms eating caviar in New York, and they're like, ha ha ha, we've crushed inflation. We're good.
The champagne socialist, as they're often referred to. Yeah, because what's her name? Press secretary, she was out earlier today saying that inflation's solved. What did she say exactly? The data shows inflation is moderating. You see jobs created at more than 14 million jobs. Unemployment is under 4%. All those things is part of Bidenomics. Bidenomics, what a meme.
That was a boost. Thank you, Freak, for your support. We appreciate it.
Green, Jean, Pierre, boosting the show. Just kidding. Top 4 boosts from Rabbit Hole Recap 282. Jamie Dimon wants to ban Bitcoin. At Eric99 boosted 50,000 sats. Stay humble, stack sats. Thank you, Eric.
Great advice.
At Cumrocket, 42,069 sats.
Does that guy,
Cumrocket.
does he boost every time?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a ride or die freak.
He pumps a new meetup every week. This week, it's the Arizona Bitcoin Network meetup, Tuesday, December 19th, 2023, at Angel's Trumpet Ale House on 810 North 2nd Street in Phoenix, Arizona, from 6 to 8 p.m. Delight in delicious bites and sip on your preferred brews while reconnecting with your Bitcoin pals or forging new connections. Whether you're a seasoned Bitcoin aficionado or simply intrigued by the halving buzz, seize the chance to come together with like-minded individuals, exchange ideas, and nurture a vibrant community of Bitcoin enthusiasts. Thank you, Cumrocket.
This guy's like the dawn of meetups. He's just always new meetup being advertised every time.
At Cypher High, boosted 33,000 sats. Best rip of the year. Bitcoin or slavery. Ride or die. Keep stacking freaks.
Let's fucking go.
In the promised land. Thank you, Cypher High.
Thank you
at
for
Bond,
your support.
5,432 sats. Be aware, freaks. More than ever. Be aware. Be aware.
Oh, be aware. Well, if we're going to be aware, to the Arizona freaks, going to have water issues pretty soon.
Matt, are you staying local for Christmas?
No. I'm going to go visit fam.
I am as well. With that,
should we cancel Rabbit Hole Recap or?
No. We should try and do it next Wednesday because I will be traveling Thursday. I will be flying from here to Philadelphia, and then...
Oh, the Wednesday's the 20th? I might be traveling. I don't know. I will figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
There'll be RHR. RHR will exist.
Well, if you're traveling... Let me preface this. My wife is very gracious. We're going to land in Philadelphia, and I'm going to take an Amtrak up to New York City. We're going to do a live year-in-review meetup at Pubkey Thursday night, next Thursday.
With who?
Thomas. And if you want to join, maybe you. Maybe make a Rabbit Hole Recap.
I might not be there.
Okay.
I'll let you know. We were supposed to drive, and now we're not driving as of this morning. So my dates just changed. So let me figure out my dates, and I'll let you know.
Figure out your dates. Shout out to my wife. Hectic day of travel. Get back. First, I got to take a Amtrak up to New York City an hour after we land. So
yeah, I mean, she's a special woman.
yeah,
grateful for
Special
both
woman,
of our wives.
Bad idea, but you know.
Why is it a bad idea?
I mean, it's a great idea, but I think you're gonna land and be like, oh man.
I wish I could just hang out with my family. I know. I committed to that. We moved our dates too, and I forgot about the Christmas recital that our son has that we can't miss. I had to move the date.
Wait, he has a Christmas recital
in Austin Wednesday, and we got to go home Thursday.
So it's not on Christmas though.
No.
What is his role?
I don't know. We'll find out. It's just you sing songs. You sing Christmas carols.
He's like a little snowflake or a Christmas tree that like runs across.
My son is not a snowflake. Okay, he's very, very tough-minded individual.
On Saturday, he took out a full-grown man running on the trail.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Okay, Sahil does not count as a full-grown man.
No. Parker and I were walking
around. This guy
around.
was at least twice the size.
Yeah, this guy was. And we had an incredible Curb Your Enthusiasm moment with this guy.
Describe it was funny because we're on the trail, and like we hear Marty's wife like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?" And she's not talking about Marty's son. She's asking the full-grown man that Marty's 3.5-year-old son took out on the trail, and then he gets himself up, takes keeps going down the trail, and we're like, man, like he didn't he wasn't like, hey, are you okay? Like to the 4-year-old. And we're like, well, maybe, in fairness to him, he was kind of shocked by it. He had his headphones on.
I'd be pretty shocked.
Probably just was sitting there being like, I should have made sure that kid was okay. So we're walking the loop, and then we see him on the other side of the loop, and I kind of give him one of these like, you want
to say something?
You're gonna stop and have a conversation.
It felt like a very Larry David move, like.
You should apologize to the kid. 3 years old.
Here's your other opportunity.
So did he stop?
No,
he just ran by.
What a fucking dickbag. See, that's Austin's fucked.
He's wearing a Clemson shirt, so he's not from Austin.
Yeah.
Fair enough. That's fucking funny.
Yeah, that's funny. We've got to jump. Parker, thank you for joining us.
Wait.
Buy the book.
Can we shout out Parker?
Safehouse.com.
Can we shout out Parker? I just fucked up your shill, so you can shill it again if you want. He told that whole story, didn't dox Marty's family's names at all. It was like
I can tell he was working on it
too. That was skill there. That was appreciated. And thanks for joining us on the show and for everything you do.
Absolutely. Thanks for demanding my presence.
Wait, show the websites that I fucked up.
So the book is exclusively for sale on thesafehouse.com.
SAIF.
And thesafehouse.com. Also, you can buy a number of other great Bitcoin books that are on the web store, and the books are my copies are getting here tomorrow. The other ones are on the way to the warehouse, so they're going to be shipping very soon.
In true Bitcoiner fashion, proof of work. We show up to Parker's house and unload the books in the pallets.
Yeah, we got 56 boxes of books showing up to my house, so I'm gonna get some of these Bitcoiners to.
That's why I went to
move them.
That's why I went to get a workout today.
All right, Matt. Great to see you.
Likewise. Stay humble, stack sets.